Hello, everybody. We are live with the community. Is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Development bi-weekly call. We are on our second to the last day of the month in January 2025. Holy cow. How did that happen? I don't know. Time flies when you're having fun, doesn't it? My name is David Warner. I'm with Quisitive, and I'll be your host for today. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about. We've got latest updates on the community. We're going to talk about things like PnP.NET libraries, PnP.Wsl2. We're going to see the latest from our presenter today, Mr. Paul Bullock, on script samples. Bob the Builder will be here to talk about Copilot Pro Dev and Power Platform samples, last but not least. And then, of course, everybody's favorite time, get those fantastic faces ready because it will be camera picture time, together mode. And then our three amazing presenters of the day. Rodrigo is going to be here to talk about PowerShell Module for WSL2 instance management and tool deployment. So lots packed in there. Paul is going to show us how the blog helper agent can assist your content creation. So that's actually super, super cool for those that are wanting to start making contributions to the community. And Kasper, the friendly contributor, is going to be here talking about advanced PnP modern search hacks. But first, let's talk about all the amazing resources that are available to you in this community. There are lots of things, actually, one of which is our Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel. Now, this is where things like this call gets hosted and placed after the call. That's where a number of demos get provided from both inside of Microsoft and the community. So a number of great things. And we got on average more than one video dropping a day there. So go check it out. Make sure you subscribe so you can be alerted as soon as new things are available. We've also got our LinkedIn group for discussions, so everybody can be part of a collaborative opportunity there in LinkedIn, so go check that out. We've got a number of open source tooling, so things like PnP.JS, CLI for Microsoft 365, and a number of other amazing tools that you'll also hear more about today. And of course, we would not be anything without all of our amazing samples provided by all of you, sample galleries that are spanning the spectrum of broad topics from Teams to SPFX to Power Platform to list formatting. So lots of amazing things. And all you got to do is remember every single one of these things. Just kidding. Just got to remember one URL, aka.ms/community/home, or make it even easier, community.ms, HTTP community.ms will take you there and give you access to all of these amazing things in the community that have been created by all of you. So again, we want to thank you for that and check it out. And you're on this call, so that means that, hey, we hope you like community calls. But we got more. Every week on Tuesday is our Microsoft 365 and Power Platform Microsoft Speakers Call. Now, this means that you're going to get it directly from those product managers and those project managers that are building the amazing stuff that we use and love every single day. So check that out. Get it on your calendar. We've got our monthly Power Platform call. That's going to be coming up in a few weeks. That's the third Wednesday of every month. We've got our Office add-ins and, of course, our bi-weekly sibling calls, one of which you are on right now. This is the Microsoft 365 and Power Platform. And then we've got the sibling Viva connections and SharePoint framework. So every Thursday, doesn't matter what's going on, holiday or not, we are going to be here for you. We recommend you go get the invites. You can get that at ak.ms/community/calls. Get those on your calendar. It is well worth it. I call these calls a crystal ball into what's now, what's new, what's next. And you're going to see how everyone else in the world is using the technology in ways which you maybe thought wasn't possible. So it's a great way to stay involved. And speaking of one of those calls, on Tuesday, the next one, 4th of February, we're going to have a couple of Microsoft presenters. Mark Wendell's going to be back talking about the latest updates on SharePoint Embedded. And then our newly minted favorite Italian in Microsoft. He is now an employee, yes, getting started with Copilot Studio Agent Builder in Microsoft 365. Copilot, Paolo Pialarsi. So check that out. You can get access, again, to that using that URL that is on the screen or in your chat. That'll take you to the invite. And as you're watching today, you may think, well, I got some cool stuff that I've created, but is it really cool enough to show off to everyone in the community? Yes, I guarantee it is. Everyone is welcome. So don't undervalue what you're building and what you're doing. If you've created something that you're passionate about and you like, and you're thinking, I'm sure that there's at least one other person in the world that would find value in this, you are absolutely right. And there's probably more than one. And this is a great place to showcase it. So don't hesitate. If you want to show something off, let us know. Fill in this form, ak.ms/community/request/demo. I know, rolls right off the tongue. You can get access to that form. Fill it in. We'll get back to you. We'll get you scheduled. And if you need a buddy, just let us know. We'll help you out. We'll buddy up with you, and we can even present together. So we've done that before. It's a great time, a wonderful opportunity to collaborate. And as you're seeing some of the samples and maybe some of the areas in which people are showing stuff off, well, we have support for you there too if you've never done it. If you don't know what GitHub is and you're like, what is this hub of Gits? That GitHub hub's, it's a mysterious labyrinth of mystery. Mysterious labyrinth of mystery. Yes, from the Department of Redundancy Department. Sharing is Caring is here to provide those hands-on guidance sessions. So it started out with working with GitHub. We are expanding it to how to use various areas of their different products. We're building those up. That's what's taking a little bit longer, so we appreciate your patience. But please, please, please keep an eye out at aka.ms/sharing is caring. We're going to get some of these new, and this is a teaser for things like responsive Power Apps and component libraries. A lot of passion around there. So definitely get involved and keep an eye out on that URL, aka.ms/sharing is caring. And then, of course, once you do contribute, we've got what? Our recognition program. This is our program that provides recognition in a official and accredited way by Credly badges. So we see some of those new badges flying out with the 2025 label. Yes, they are already going out. They are wonderful. And we've got new ones coming up soon for some themes. We've got new ones coming up soon for some events. You can see that there with the Powerful Devs Hack Together that is coming up. April's helping lead that with her team, and that will have a badge. So check it out. Wonderful opportunity. Great way to get involved. And it's absolutely free. We cover the cost. Just need you to opt in, which you can do at ak.ms/community/recognition. And you don't got to do that every year, just once, and we'll track you over the years. Unless your GitHub ID changes or your email changes, let us know about that. You can input that as a change. But go get opted in so that you can get recognized. Okay, let's move into some of our initiatives here in the community. What are our project-specific updates? The first one is just a reminder that we've got our Copilot prompts. This is a great repo that is used to show off how you can use different Copilot and AI prompts to better and more efficiently work within your technology area. So it's a great way to get involved. And of course, we're doing our Copilot prompt of the week. So this one is a little bit of a game, tic-tac-toe game prompt by Shrutika. So thank you, Shrutika. Wonderful job. Again, maybe the intent of Copilot is not necessarily to create a game, but I will say gamification is a very, very real and useful tool. So if you can kind of marry those two things together and or maybe use it to learn, it's a really, really cool opportunity to utilize that technology. So thank you again, Shrutika. Very, very great job. And we're open for others. This is one of the easier ways to contribute, folks and friends, because we've all started becoming prompt engineers to some degree. So if you got a cool one that you like, throw it in there and we'll see about getting you to be the prompt of the week. All right, let's move into PnP.NET libraries with Bert.
Thank you, David. For PnP.NET, it was a bit of a quiet period. So we mainly focused on issue handling, discussion handling. So no real updates to share for the last weeks, but still going strong on issues and the discussions. That's it from my side. Let's move to Gautam.
Thank you, Bert. PnP PowerShell, got him?
Hey, thanks, David. Thanks, Bert. PnP.Wsl2 is a PowerShell library that you can use for various Microsoft 365 services. And in the latest nightly builds, we added a bunch of commands like set PnP file retention label and get PnP file checked out commandlets. So you can use both of them to set the retention label on a file in a document library, or as well get the list of all the files which have been checked out by a particular user. What else? We also improved the set PnP tenant and the set PnP site commandlets to add additional parameters which have been added by M365. So yeah, work has been done in that side of the things. Besides that, we are working hard on getting V3 out, so it will be out soonish, I hope, and would absolutely love to hear your feedback. Do check out the nightly builds and let us know your feedback on that. Over to you, David.
Awesome, thank you, got him. Great job. And script samples with one of our presenters today, Paul Bullock.
Thank you, David. So if you don't know what script samples is, it's a repository of PowerShell scripts covering tools like the Microsoft Graph, PnP PowerShell, SP Management Shell, CLI for M365. There's really no limit that you can share with the community. And if you're starting a new project and you want to at least get a head start, you can have a look to see if there's a sample that you could leverage for those scenarios, or if you want to explore new ways of doing things. So this is the place to go. And we've had a new contribution recently, so from Divya Akula, about getting data from OpenAI deployment models, which is super cool to see that sort of AI being built into there. And yes, there are some samples around Copilot and AI as well in the repository if you're looking into that space. So super thank you for that submission. And if you've got any feedback on the site or the samples, there's things missing, or you've got some ideas, by all means, you can reach out to myself, or you can either post an issue on the repo, or you can see that I've got various handles and carrier pigeons and so forth that you could leverage to contact me on that handle. So I'm open to DMs if you need any help get going. And also there's a badge as well. So remember to opt in the badge program, and we've got 3 levels for you to achieve, so which is super cool. So thank you very much for all your contributions, and back to you, David.
Awesome. Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob. No, Paul. You're Paul. Thank you, Paul. Thinking about Bob on our next slide. And yeah, friends, that there are 3 levels, and it says 2024, but Paul and I are working on getting those together. And again, because there's 3 levels, that means you can level up. So let us know if you got any questions, and check out the recognition program. All right, now it's time for Bob, our favorite builder. Bob, take it away.
Hey, no, actually, I'm going to change my name to Paul just for this call. How y'all doing? We have some great new Copilot Pro Dev samples up in the repo. One of them is from Frank Cornu, and I think it's really nice. I don't know if you know it, but a declarative agent, which is something you write with Teams Toolkit, and it's just mostly instructions. You can have it call an API if you can specify the API using the right JSON files and stuff. And he figured out how to make it call the Graph API directly. So think about the power that unlocks. And there's a great sample here. He's got a blog article, so definitely check that out. Also, Jeremy Thake back again this week. He's been busy, and he made a really cool declarative agent that helps you plan your presentation. So you tell it what you want, who the audience is, and it basically outlines the whole thing for you. So please check those out at Copilot Pro Dev Samples. There's a link at the bottom of the screen. And back to you, Paul, David.
Yeah, I'll take it. You can say
Fred.
"Hey you," and I'll reply. Thank you, Bob. Great job, Frank and Jeremy. Awesome stuff. All right, Kate is out traveling today, but again, we just want to remind everybody we've got our plethora of Power Platform samples. Yes, the plethora open for business. So she's processing some of those, so we'll get those out here and recognized in the next couple of weeks. But we are still open, so check it out. Real great, easy way. Again, there are prompts there as well, Power Platform prompts, which will get you a badge, as well as the snippets, right? So we got that snippet sorcerer. Again, those are some easier ways to get involved and get your contribution, or maybe your first contribution. Low-hanging fruit, a great opportunity. All right, well, what time is it? That's right, it is picture time. So get those cameras turned on if you'd like to wave hi to the community. I see Stephanie's warming up, and Rodrigo and Vesta, and I'll get this pulled over here. There we go. Excellent. Looking clear today. And I will start up Camtasia for the recording. There we go. Move that, and move that. Oop, nope, move that. There we go. Gives us a little extra time. We're doing good on time, so we can wait just a second. For those that are fixing their hair, my hair is always, well, I don't know. Do I have a good hair day or a bad hair day? It's always consistent at least, right? So there's always that, whether it's bad or good. I see Don fixing his. Okay, a couple more seconds for everybody. Looking wonderful. I see the SharePoint monkey there. Looking good. Looking good. One more second. Anybody that wants to get in? Looking okay. Let's 3, 2, 1. Let's wave to the community, everybody. Looking great to see you all. Thank you again for being here with us, joining the calls, being here every week. Really appreciate all the effort that you're putting into the community. Love you for it. Love everything you're doing. It is really, really awesome. So thank you. All right, great job. Okay, let's get back to our regularly scheduled program. And that means that we are going to move into our amazing presenters of the day. So we're going to start out with Rodrigo. He's going to talk about PowerShell Module for WSL2 instance management and tool deployment. So Rodrigo, if you would like to take over the screen share whenever you are ready, the stage is yours.
You guys see my screen?
Yep, just want to throw that into presentation mode and you are on your way. Oop, I think you stopped sharing.
All right. How about now? Sorry.
Yep. And then just throw it into presentation mode and you'll be good to go.
Okay, let me try. Okay, so welcome to my session. It's regarding a new thing that I created called PnP.Wsl2 PowerShell Module for WSL2 instance management. Okay, so who am I? I'm Rodrigo Pinto. I'm a Microsoft 365 enterprise architect. I worked with SharePoint since 2001. I do a lot of sessions. I had recently wrote a book last year, and I'm also I'm also an MVP. Okay, I'm speeding up because I only have 5 slides, but I want you guys to see everything that I have here on the tool. Okay, so what's the purpose of this tool? So basically, I do a lot of consultancy on clients, and basically it's tech leading on dev teams and IT pros. Okay, and there's always a need to have like a corporate templates for the environment itself with restrictions on the local environment. Mainly, most of the clients that I work with have the Windows and work with and do development and whatever, but they are restrained on installing stuff inside of that. So we needed the corporate templates on the type of a container. Okay. For the need for speed in Windows, what does this mean? For the usual IT Pro operations, that's Windows. It's quite fast, but for things like Node and doing development for SPFX, it was a little bit slow. So the idea here was to have the corporate templates on a specific place with the proper speed. Okay, for that we actually use the WSL2. It's quite powerful tool. But they had too many steps to configure, and there's no checkpoints. Actually there is, but it's a little bit complex and a lot of command lines to hit to reach that goal. And basically, on top of those templates, the idea was and is to add other tools on top of the container in an easy way. Basically, it's on package ones. So what's the PnP.Wsl2? So it's a PowerShell module to manage WSL2 instances. Basically, it creates checkpoints and you can add tools on it. So what can we do with it? We can install and uninstall WSL2. So basically, with just one command, you actually can enable and disable WSL2 on the machines. We can create WSL instances based on Linux disk. It can be Debian, it can be Ubuntu, it can be whatever it's available. We can do checkpoints to restore, and we can create ones and restore. We can copy an instance to another. We can import and export. We can list and delete WSL instances, and we can actually have packages to install. We call it candies, little apps inside of the WSL. Okay. So let's think it's demo time. Good. I was trying to monitor the time, but I forgot. Okay, let me just. Okay, so first of all, what you see here, can you guys see my screen? Is it too small? It's okay.
No, I think it's okay. I think it's okay.
Okay, so first thing first, on this machine, I actually measure the time spent to do the install of the WSL. It takes like 6 minutes, so I'm not spending time doing that. On this machine, I already have the WSL installed and ready to go. So let me just import the module. First thing I need to do is import the module. And the little symbol of the module itself. Basically, what you have here is a couple of commandlets that you can actually use to manage the WSL instances. So first thing first, we should run this. The user that needs to run this needs to have admin rights on the machine. This one is actually it's not another user. The idea was to actually show this not with the full admin. Okay, I'm not doing the enable because I already did. Let me just clear the screen. Let's add an instance. PnP. Okay, add PnP double instances. And then if I hit the tab, you cannot see it, but I'm hitting the tab right now. Oops, sorry. And actually, it's looking online on the distributions that you see on Linux. Okay, so usually we use this, and then you can get a name. Okay, it explains what needs to be done. It will set the WSL2. Well, it's technical part that we actually the instance needs to for running. So yes, to continue, what will happen is it will open a new window. It's installing the instance. So basically, let's wait a little bit. Come on. Okay, ask me for the username. That's fine. We need to wait for this to finish. Okay, it was fast enough. First time that you run this first instance, it takes a little bit longer. So I hit the continue. It will install the baseline for the instance itself. So it will ask me for the passwords and all these kind of things. So what is this? So it's installing some tools that you can use inside of the WSC, like the curl, the wget, and other tools. Just to continue. So it will be fast. Everybody can see the screen, right? A lot of letters coming in.
Yeah, yep, we can see.
Installing NVM, and then because I'm running this on a VM inside of Hyper-V, I see always this thing. So installing Node V8 as a baseline. It usually takes like 2-3 minutes to do this. Okay, it actually creates another thing, PnP.2 alias start sync, and I'll explain that thing after. What is it? So now actually it's adding the WSL instance. It takes a little bit more. Can appreciate okay, or not. Let's see. I'm not singing, okay? I can dance, but it's adding the WSL instance. It's kind of curious. This module itself, it grew for a request from one client, and then I have a lot of clients using it, but they actually don't want to have their name attached to this. So I'm gathering all the samples that the guy did and putting as the tools as the modifications myself. So it's kind of funny. I don't know how many downloads we have right now. Last time I checked was 600, so somebody's using it. Okay, okay, it's created more or less 2-3 minutes. So what does it do? So it creates the instance, automatically creates a checkpoint. It's like on Hyper-V on VMware we have checkpoints on the current state of the machine. So the WSL2, it's a Windows subsystem Linux. So basically, it's a VM inside of your Windows. So it's quite fast. The file system itself. So for the developers, it's quite fast. Let me just do this. Get PnP.Wsl2 instance. I should have 3. Yeah, base. So the base and sandbox were already there. The instance is the new one. Now, if I close this, and I open, you will see the instance here. Okay, so it's quite interesting. So one of the things I'm going to show you is the checkpoints. If this thing, okay. So just small test. I'll create a folder called ABC. I'll do a checkpoint. Oops, instance. Come on, instance. And I can doing the tab, I can actually select the instance that I want instead of typing it. Okay, I can give it a name. It can be the first one. First. Get first, yes. That's it. Now I'm going to okay, so I'm going to here, and I will create another folder, EF. Okay, 2 of them here. And I can import, sorry, not import, restore. So instance, it's the name of the instance. This one, checkpoint. Sorry, checkpoint. I have the same with the checkpoints. You see, so it's quite useful. I'm restoring it. Do you want to restore? Yes. Continue. Yes. So basically, what the system does, it destroys the other one and just do the checkpoint, and then just restore the checkpoint itself. So as you can see, the instance went down. So I'm going to here because we actually replaced that instance by another one. And if I do this, I should be see ABC just okay. If I go here and I do get PnP.Wsl2 checkpoints, again these checkpoints, and I do the instance, I can see the list of the checkpoints. Okay. I can do also exports. Basically, this is it can be a zip file with a VHD inside because it's a VM instance. It can be VHD, a tar file or VHD. VHD, it's the simple one. Put it here. Okay, and I can import the PnP instance. This instance. One thing one of the actual my clients did was actually he wanted to import to a new instance, so I don't need to recreate the WSL instance like add PnP WSL instance. This thing actually recreates a new one. Okay, I'm not importing because it's actually I think it's faster. It's fast. Let's see. The export is the one that's actually slow. I'm importing the same one. New one. 1, 2, 3. That's it. Quick, fast, right? So quick and fast and not dirty. Okay. Let me see. Get PnP.Wsl2 instances. See how many. Okay, new one. It's there. Okay, and it's aligned. Okay, another thing that the software has is a thing called Candy, and Candy are the tools. It's basically why this thing actually was built. The tools available to install inside of the WSL's instances. So what you see here, it's basically the things that we tend to use on Office 365 and Azure. Most of the tools like the Azure CLI, the PowerShell Core, you can actually install all of them. There's one here. I don't know if I have the time to see because it takes a little bit longer. It's the full dev environment, and basically it's installing, ask you for installing the node, the Git, anything regarding with the SPFX development. We can add the what's the name of that thing? The path, the tokens on DevOps. We can actually add the SSH and the certificates for SPFX development. One thing that's kind of funny. It's kind of funny and it's kind of cool, not funny. One thing that you can actually do is I'm going to install a tool in PnP that's used to has give me just a second. Candy. It's the tree first. That has apps inside of that only works inside of the WSL, mainly on the Linux part. Okay. Example, it's the tree. And basically, what it does. Password again. And shows. I think it's a clock and a calculator exactly. So it's just an example. Okay. Another thing cool also is, let me just close this. If I go here and I do PnP.Wsl2 tap, I can see the same tools inside of the WSL. Now, one of the examples I'm running here, if I'm not mistaken, because one of them takes too long to install, is the example 3. And basically, it's a tool that's running. It's a script that's running inside WSL, but it's calling something on your host, on the Windows part. Okay? No, it's not the 3, it's the 2. Sorry, guys. Yeah, I did it the same thing again. It's the 2. Okay, now this is the machine. This is the host. Okay, as you can see. There's a small demo. So basically, it's kind of interesting. The one I don't know how am I with the sound not with the sound with the time. I'm okay or
No, we got to wrap it up here for you.
yeah,
Just about
Let
out,
me
yeah.
go to the slide to the final slide. So let me go to the final slides where my PowerPoint is. Okay. So I was planning to show the full development. It takes too long. Okay, so this is the links. So this project it's inside of the PnP umbrella. Okay, the code is on GitHub. There's a couple of blog articles on my blog, and the only thing that you need to do is install the module PnP.Wsl2 on your machine. Coming soon. One of the things that I didn't have the time yet to actually to finish is actually have containers, Docker containers inside of the DSL. It's working, but I need to wrap everything up on a Candy. Okay, and another thing that's coming is also the graphical user interface to do this, because some of the administrators on the PowerShell level, they are a little bit lazy. They want to see something graphical, so I'm changing that thing also free of charge. And that's it. Thank you, and you are awesome. Feel free to reach out and to contribute. It's there for you to use and to mess around and to do whatever. This is my contacts, and that's it, guys. See you soon.
Awesome. Thank you, Rodrigo. Nice Rickroll. You could say, we're no strangers to dev. You know the code, and so do I. All right. I won't make anybody else vomit with my singing. Let's move into Paul, how the blog helper agent can assist your content creation. Paul, take it away.
Thank you, David. So yes, it's not a script sample. So I do venture outside of the PnP script samples repository to do other things. And one of those things is I do spend a lot of time learning and playing with Microsoft 365 Copilot. So, and some of that yields outputs to things like a blog. So I figured, well, if I'm blogging about agents, can I have an agent about blogging about an agent? Blogging about an agent. There's a bit of a sort of loop going on there in my head continuously, almost like an infinite loop. Luckily, I survived. Come on, PowerPoint, you're failing today. So who am I? I'm a Microsoft MVP in the 365 development categories and also Copilot as well. I am the owner of PnP script samples. You might have guessed by my previous talk, but for those watching the recording, then yeah, I run that. I also blog as well, and I don't know if you've noticed, but I'm also an avid talker. I talk lots and lots and lots, and that includes things like bad dad jokes and puns as well. So you will get those throughout any sort of conversation with me. So no forgiveness, but that is me. So one of the things I do is, like I said, I do blogging, and I thought it would be useful to see if I can bake in an agent that would support my blogging sort of abilities. Now, you don't. So I've got a demo which I'll show shortly on how I do this in Copilot. But you can. So I target my own blog in the data source of this, because it's something that I can use. However, you don't have to. So if you've got a blog or you've got a corporate website or you do a lot of content creation, then what you can do is you can alter this sample to target your website or your data sources and use it on your sites. Because obviously, if you install on your tenant, the sample, and you're seeing my website, I'm sure you'd be like, yeah, it's probably not what I'm after. So by all means, you can customize this to meet your scenario. So I'm just gonna flip over now to a bit of a demo. So I'm going to jump straight into it. So I have submitted my offerings. GitHub was a little bit flaky earlier, so hopefully we've got a more stable environment now. So I'm just going to show you what the end result is first before I switch to code. So I've got a tenant with M365 Copilot on it, and actually there's some good news actually, because Microsoft very recently changed the game with Copilot. So tenants without a Copilot license will now get M365 Copilot chat license for free. And those capabilities are part of that. And I have more than one tenant, and I installed this blog helper agent, which I'll show shortly, onto that tenant, and it continued to work in that environment well. So you're not anymore constrained to having an M365 Copilot license, at least for this scenario as well. So there is a blog. I don't have that on the screen, but there is a blog about from Microsoft around what you can, what capabilities you can use with that Copilot free chat. And the good news is you can use this. So I'm just going to quickly show here. So this is the helper agent. So behind the scenes, I target my website. Things that you need to think about when you're navigating through this is things like setting up an agent, branding, and these sort of starter areas and so forth, just to get that started. And I put some of these in for demoability, but also for my own use as well, so that if I want to start a blog, I want to get some ideas in terms of how the introduction might look, or even the conclusion as well. And what I'll show you in a minute is also the header images. I tend to lean towards Designer to generate those, and this agent now has that support in that as well with the latest schema, which is super cool. So I'm just going to show you what my website looks like. Again, like I said, this doesn't have to be this website, of course. If you've got your own, target that content so that you can at least see what you've got. You can reference it. As you can see here, it's quite obvious that I use Designer in a way. There's that kind of like generated AI-esque imagery you've got here along the top here. And I've even got a blog post to helper agent that I target as part of this demo for the blog post helper agent. So there's a little bit of an inception loop going on there with the agent helping the agent, talking about the agent of itself. So and even then I actually updated the agent based on the review from the agent. So so there's a bit of trickery going on there. So I got a few samples here. If you're interested in learning about this, obviously check this out if you want to. But with the agent, what you can then go and then you can sort of click, say, for example, I want to get a summary of one of my posts. So I can just click on this sort of summaries, say, understanding the experience of an agent Teams chat, and then it will go away, look at my website, and then sort of generate a summary of that information. So if you need to use that in if you had like if you wanted to communicate that out, you can generate that quick summary of your posts for like sort of social media or internal comms if you wanted to distribute that chat. So that's sort of one example. And then
Paul, could you zoom in just a slight bit for us, just so it's better for the.
Sure.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you.
Is that all right?
Yep.
So
looks great.
Fine. Yep. So the other ones are, for example, create this header image for a blog post. Just quickly, I'll just show you what that looks like. So it's just a prompt just to get that sort of image generation going. So the designer will produce that imagery as you see here, and I actually tend to use this bit more than the functions actually in Copilot actually for this. But as you can see, I've got a selection of imagery I could use for the header if I like the style. I probably need to be a bit more creative with the prompt, if I'm honest, but at least it gives you an idea of what you can do within the agent without having to leave an experience and go and hunt down Designer and then navigate to its image generation as well. So how did I do all this? So I'm just going to flip over to one of my repos. I'm just going to move this bar out of the way. And I've got code spaces running. So you can can work with declarative agents using Teams Toolkit in code spaces. I did it for a work demo recently, so I didn't have to keep setting up environments and so forth, I could just have this thing follow me wherever I went, which is super cool. So it's all in the browser. So I'm just going to run through quickly how this works. So in order to get a declarative agent, created, you can go into Teams Toolkit, you can run through the sort of create a new app experience, create that declarative agent, and so forth to run through that experience. I won't dwell on that because there's been some great demos recently. I think Vesa, you did one with building one in 20 seconds. Mine took longer than 20 seconds. I was very disappointed in myself. So there are examples of how to set this up. So I won't go into too much of that. The next thing you'll get a scaffolded out an agent package here. I'm just going to just highlight a few files. So we navigate down to this declarative agent JSON file that's generated. So the first thing you need to focus on is things like making sure that your name and descriptions are well thought out. Again, I got another blog post on that. I'm using the schema of 1.2. I'm going to zoom in a little bit, actually, if that's a bit more readable. There you go. Of 1.2 because it gives me the capabilities of graphic art, which is that sort of SharePoint designer like experience. And there is another one called Code Interpreter. So I was playing with this actually last night, and it's more focused around Python. If you want to do like data science instructions and so forth, which seems to be the use case here. And the next thing you need to get right is the instructions. So the instructions are very important to tell the agent what you want it to do so that it can then operate again in a certain way, in a certain set of parameters, examples, and so forth. So I'm just going to navigate over to here. I just went over to the instruction.txt file. So I kind of cheated on all this. So in all of this text that's created for the instructions, you might be thinking, wow, that's quite a lot of text to generate out, from an agent. It must have taken you ages to get the instructions right to produce the output. It did not. I actually went to Copilot in M365 and said, hey, I'm actually wanting to build a declarative agent with these capabilities. Can you produce a list of a summary of the capabilities, instructions for use, and the examples? And it produced all of this. So I thought, as an experiment, I'm going to stick all this in the instructions file. And hey ho, actually, it actually met the requirement very, very well, actually. So now my agent was able to respond in a way that I was happy with and produce things and suggest things in a format based on these instructions. So, for example, I wanted, the ability to author code if I wanted suggestions. I'm not the best at grammar and style suggestions for readability because I write these at like 10, 11 o'clock at night. So it's got to the end of my day. So I may want that sort of like, hey, that sort of support from a Copilot to help me check over my my grammatical errors and things like that. I've got the ability to review previous posts, and again things like instructions for you. So starting a new post, what it could suggest, and so forth, which is super cool. So once you've done the instructions, then think about the data sources, right? So I want this to target my website. So I need to then configure the capabilities block within this. You use the web search named parameter there in the capabilities, and then you can target your website. Obviously, I've used mine in this example, but this could be any sort of website that you feel like that you would want to target. So, and I've had people actually came back to me when I posted this on LinkedIn when I first released the sample, and you can have more than one website. One thing to bear in mind as well: make sure you do. Ensure your website is indexed by Bing, because if it's not, then you may not get the results you are looking for. And then the last thing you need to then think about is the conversation starters. So if you do like a set of actions quite commonly, I've actually tried to put in some examples in here so I can remember if I go to the agent every couple of weeks, what does this thing do? I can't remember what capabilities are baked into it. So it gives you a hint on what to do, and also a snippet of a sample close to the prompt that you may want to use anyway. So you can just tweak it a little bit, and then you can get the output you're looking for in that as well. And these are all the sort of general building blocks. So you can then go into Teams Toolkit here, you can hit provision, and then it will hit your tenant and install it into this spot here. And then you can perform said actions. And that is pretty much it in a nutshell. We have this. I have the sample release now. It's in Bob German's repo, not Paul German's repo, is the rename. So it's available there as well. So if you want to have a look at that, by all means, have a look at the code, adapt it. If you feel that's a good use case for your scenarios, if it can help it out, then by all means, it's open in the community as well. And again, I've got a few posts around agents and so forth if you're looking for any help. So I hope that's been useful. I just want to see if there's anything else on my slide deck. Yes, there is. Just one more thing.
You got a cool resources slide, right? Would be great to capture in the video.
Indeed. So I'll just navigate there. So we've got some links to the there's a Copilot developer camp that Bob Jones and the dev advocates have got set up. So it runs you through quite a few advanced scenarios. You set up a declarative agent, then API plugins, and then you can do custom engine agents, which is super, super cool, actually. I've been spending a lot of time in that space. So reading through the material, it's really helpful, step-by-step, clear instructions on how to do this. And I got a few blog posts, and again, the sample repository I was talking about, that's Bob German. There's loads of other dev samples in there as well. As you see, Frank released one recently, which I'm actually reading through. Super cool. So there is some great stuff in that repository there. And of course, the Microsoft adoption site as well has got sample solution galleries for everything else. So I hope that's been useful. That's it for me, David. And thank you very much for listening.
Awesome stuff, Paul. Really love how useful and practical all this is for those that are looking to get involved in the community. So thank you. Kasper, if you want to take over the screen while you're doing that, I will just reiterate what we put in the chat, which is Paul used AI to help him build this, which is great. It's a good example. You're not going to lose your job to AI, but you might lose your job to someone who knows how to use AI better than you, right? So there's a great way. Embrace it. Check out those links. The links will absolutely be in the show notes as well as in the chat. So take a look. Next up, we've got Kasper, the friendly contributor. He's going to talk about advanced PnP modern search hacks. Kasper, take it away.
Thank you, David. Yeah, well, just for short, this is me, and you cannot reach me on Twitter anymore. I've moved on to greener pastures. The one we have to have a look today is in PnP Modern Search, you have the various components, and most people are familiar how you can connect the various web parts together. But one thing that we see is not used that much is the ability to connect a result web part to another result web part. So that's sort of like, why would I ever do that? If you are familiar with some database theory as well, you can think of it as a sort of like a master details view. Another way to do, if you have some data that is related to another set of data, you can actually make it work together by using these connections. The one I was going to show you today is where I used it to create a filter, even though we have a filter web part, but in this case, it will actually make sense. And the requirements that we got is that we want to create this A to C filter or alphabetic filter. We want to do it in modern search, and it should be dynamic, which means that if I have some topic and the first letter of that topic is there, then we should see that letter, and I'll make sense shortly. If we have the same letter present twice, we want to remove that. We only want to see it once. And once we have that up and running, then we want to connect it to another web part and make it work like a filter. So what we have when we start this is something like this, where we have just an ordinary search scenario where we have a result web part, we have a filter, and we have a search box up here. What we want to see is like this, where we have a sort of like a filter up here. The letters match the various topics we have down here, and only once, even though in this case we have mobile phones and maternity leave. Well, that's two instances, but we only see it once up here, and it works like a filter, and it doesn't disappear like we see over here with our ordinary refiner or filter. If I select something here, the rest of them goes away. We don't want that. We want this to stay up there all the time. So how do we do that? Well, first of all, the topics over here, they are just pages in a page library somewhere. In this case, they are in this site pages library, but they can be anywhere, because I'm kind of old school. I don't really rely on list columns. All what I do is based on content types and site columns. So in this case, I've created a policy content type. And in order to make sure that it works all over the place, I have added it up in the content type gallery. So here we have my policy content type. And of course, it contains various site columns up here. And one of them, just to be lazy, I decided to cheat. So rather than having to do something funky about how I can extract the first letter of the topic, I just cheated and created a a calculated column up here that just grabs the first letter of the topic or the title from that page. And of course, this content type I distribute to the various sites where I want to use it. So it's all there out of the box. Makes it a lot easier for me. So when I'm back here again, I have to add that filter in some way. And the easiest way to do that is just to add a new result web part. And I've, of course, been cheating. So most of the configuration is already set up. So I have to use the same content type as I use down here because I want to see the content down there. And I only want to see it once. So let's see if we just remove that thing there. Now I get my results up here. The reason why I do that is that I have added that field that we saw that was called first letter from title, very descriptive title in this case. So I've added that as a selected property, which means it is available up here. So now I can actually see it if I want to. Another thing I have to do is I have to make sure that I use a custom layout, because this is not the way it normally looks. If I have a look at this up here, it's a very, very, very basic template. The only thing it is doing is that shows the first letter and only some of it actually, because it just contains some more. But if I look at what it will look like if I just used cart, for instance, it will it'll just be the same as we saw before. So I'm just cheating. So let's replace this, what I got over here. So that's just a custom display template. It's actually available in the samples repository. It's very basic. Another thing, we have to make sure that we can actually select it. That's just checking on this feature. Then it will make sure that we can actually select this item, the various items. The last thing we have to ensure is over here. If I remove that, you'll see that, of course, it's going through all of the content we have down here, and it will add the first letter from each of the items down there. And that works fine, except for in one case, because we have two of them. We have maternity leave and we have mobile phones. Both of them are up here, and they both represented by the letter M. But we only want to see it once, even though that it exists twice. And that's where we have this property, which is called collapse specification. It's seldomly used. I have not seen anybody else use it in their templates yet, but I want to promote that. What it does is that it actually collapses the result sources. So as a result, we get back from the API. So you say, I want to see this property, and I want to see it this many times. In this case, I just want to see it once. So just by applying that, it goes away up here. And now we are back at just showing the letters that we want up here, and we only see them once. So that's the first part of my requirements list. And the next thing is that I wanted to use it as a sort of a filter. By doing that, I have to go to the other web part, to my main web part here. And I have to use the capabilities we have here where we can actually connect it. As you see up here, I've already connected this web part to the search box. I've connected to the filter, but I'm also connecting it to the other results web part, this one up here. In this case, I'm telling it, you should use this one up here as a filter. The field from up here you want to use is first letter from title, on which property in this web part do you want to compare it to. Again, first letter from title, because it's in both of them. And I'm using it as a token down here, which we're included in the guide text down here. We can actually see the syntax that I'm going to use. So I've just grabbed that from my clipboard, and I go back to page 1. You see that I'm just looking for something that is a document. I'm using the same document type ID as previously, but now I've added this clause up here saying, so remove that. What I wanted to do is that the first letter from title must be contained in what I get in my filter. My filter is what I get up from here, so it sort of like works like as a sort of like a filter again. So if I run that, then it will actually show this functionality where I take a look up here and then I can just filter it away. This is just, of course, a nice little feature, but it's something that we haven't seen been used yet for a lot of people. And we can use that for in a lot of cases. We can use it for, like in this case, it's just HR policies, but we can use it for documents. We can use it for list items, and we don't have to use it just as a filter. We can also use it, as I said before, where we have, for instance, I have a search page where I'm looking for document sets, and when I click on a document sets on a related or connected results web part, I see the content in that document set. There's no need to actually split that, and you have to go into the document set. Or in another case where we're looking for list items, if I click on a list item in the search result, I see in another search result the search results web part, I see the files that is actually attached to that list item. So it's a very versatile web part that we can use for a lot of funny stuff. So this was just a sort of like a teaser. I have recorded all of this, and it's available on YouTube as well, so where you can walk through how it actually is created all the way. And so that's just an appetizer, and I hope we'll have fun with the PnP Modern Search. And of course, always sign up for the repository, and let's see your questions and answers and requests. And we also have PnP Modern Search office hours every 2 weeks, where you can arrange for a chat for half an hour with me or one of the other guys from the project. That's it. So back to you, David.
Awesome, Kasper. Very, very cool stuff. I really love how you scratched the surface there and showed some advanced modern search hacks. It's so functional, so usable. So definitely take him up on those office hours. Get involved. See how you can help out. Kasper and I are also working on a badge, a search-specific badge. So if you do want to get involved, you will get recognized. It's coming soon. It's going to be really cool. We're looking forward to it. Thank you to all of our presenters today, Rodrigo, Paul, and Kasper. Great job. Amazing stuff. Again, a broad spectrum of topics for us to put into use. And reach out to them if you have questions, everybody. This is a collaborative community, so they all love to work with everybody, so don't be shy. All right, some other areas that you can get involved in the community. We've got our Discord server, so if you want to impress the cool kids and say, hey, I'm in a Discord server, you can. It is absolutely free. Other members of the community, it's got a lot of one-stop shop areas where it covers a number of topics, so you can collaborate all in one place on a broad spectrum of technologies. So get in there, ak.ms/community/discord, absolutely free. And then we'd love to get any feedback from you, whether calls are going good or you see areas of improvement, let us know. Even if you've already filled it in and told us either of those things or both, we'd love to hear it again. Helps us make sure that we're on the right track. The video and recording will be available in 24 hours or less on the Microsoft Community Learning YouTube channel, which you can get access to at ak.ms/community/YouTube. Go subscribe, absolutely sign up because you will be alerted as soon as new videos drop. So it's the best and greatest way to be alerted and find out about all those good things. You can also follow us on Twitter/X, Blue Sky, LinkedIn, all the socials. And the next call will be in 2 weeks, February 13th at 7 a.m. Pacific. Next Viva Connections SharePoint Framework next week, February 6th at 7 a.m. as well. Again, every week, every Thursday. Topics flip-flop every other week. We look forward to seeing you there. You can get the invites at ak.ms/community/calls. So thank you all for being amazing and doing amazing things. Keep it up. We love you for it. We will see you next time. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Cheers.